Oliver Pearce, Policy Manager at Oxfam. It's our pleasure to ask you three main questions within the framework of tax justice and gender justice in the Arab tax systems. So the first one is, what are the main challenges facing tax justice worldwide?
I think there are a couple of big challenges facing those of us working in the tax justice movement worldwide. First of all, we want countries, particularly developing countries, to have sufficient revenue, enough money to pay for the vital public services that women and men rely on. Without those public services, we're going to see poverty remaining and inequality increasing. And secondly, I think we need to make our tax systems much more progressive. This means that we tax companies and individuals that have more wealth more and allow exemptions or tax people without wealth much less. Lastly, I think we need to make sure that we rewrite the rules for international tax so they're much fairer for poor countries and for poor people in those countries.
Oh, perfect. So to what extent does this have an impact on women's rights in particular?
Well, women can often lose out in both the design and implementation of tax policies. First of all, women are often running small businesses, and small businesses often face a much higher effective rate of tax than large businesses, which may be able to manipulate the tax systems to their own advantage and pay a lower rate. In addition to that, women tend to have fewer assets, and assets like shares or other forms of wealth often face a lower rate of tax. And sometimes there are overt discriminations in the tax system. So sometimes women are treated simply as an addition to a man in their household for tax purposes. So we need to look at how the tax system plays out for women and men, because women often lose out by virtue of being poorer to start with, and then as a result of the tax system that can be even worse.
Okay. And how possible is it to balance between taxes being an economic adjustment tool and a mean to achieve social justice and gender justice included, definitely?
Well, I think a well-designed and well-implemented tax system should do all of those things. But in order for it to do those things, we need to make sure that we're thinking about tax as part of a broader fiscal justice framework in a country. A framework which raises the money progressively and then spends it on the priorities of people in that country, particularly poor people who don't have as much access to public services in the first place or may not be able to look after themselves in the same way. And I think for us to achieve these kinds of tax systems, we need to make sure that people's priorities are articulated via their governments and in other ways, and that they're able to raise their voices and demand tax justice for them and feel that the tax system is working for them. So we need greater transparency in what individuals and companies pay, and make sure that we have fair tax systems and make sure that they're implemented properly.
Okay, Oliver Pearce, we thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.